So how did SSSS Gridman come about and land in Trigger's lap for the reboot? Well, if we look back to the legendary Japan Animator Expo that took place a few years ago, director of the series Akira Amemiya, representing Studio Trigger, collaborated with Tsuburaya Productions to make a Gridman short animation, clearly as a test for what was to come. Anything Trigger releases is always what I'm most hype about going into any season. There's no denying that I'm the biggest Trigger and Gainax fanboy when their in-your-face, meteoric, don't give a damn style is what I love most about anime as a medium. Hell, it only took them a minute into the series to flash their signature stars in the sky that grab you by the neck and scream, "This is a Trigger anime!" And no doubt we're already seeing those classic exaggerated visuals in Gridman, considering director Amemiya has been dubbed the second coming of Imaishi. Hiroyuki Imaishi being the director of my favorite anime of all time, Gurren Lagann, a series Amemiya had a heavy hand in while he was creating it still at Studio Gainax.
幸いにも身近にいっぱいいるので、その人たちを最大限に生かしてやろうと思って、グレンラガンやるときはかなりそれを意識して。
After following Imaishi to Studio Trigger, they brought their Kaneda-style animation influences with them, and Amemiya has decided to pay homage to infamous mecha designer Obari-san through the anime adaptation of Gridman, quite obviously with all the Obari poses and sprinkled mecha anime references all over the place. But why is Tsuburaya Productions involved in all this? Well, they are the production company responsible for the original Ultraman and Gridman the Hyper Agent tokusatsu series that released in 1993 in Japan, making this the 25th anniversary and the perfect time for a throwback.
The evil Kilo Khan lives inside computer circuits, the superhuman samurai Cyber Squad!
Tokusatsu, for those that don't know, is a Japanese word for fantasy live action, using a profuse amount of special effects. The most popular tokusatsu, of course, being Godzilla, which I watched because it was on TV last night. The SSSS comes from Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, the American TV series that adapted Gridman and was similar to Power Rangers. I was a die-hard original Power Rangers kid, but I definitely do remember some glimpses of Ultraman, Gridman, and the rest of the live-action Japanese monster robot insanity. The original Gridman also revolves around a main character, Naoto, and two other kids creating the computer known as Junk, possessed by Gridman. The villain from the Hyperworld Khan controls a boy from Naoto's school, and the boy creates monsters for him, similar to what we've already seen in this new anime. However, Trigger emphasized an all-new story, so perhaps we will see some sound changes after episode 2, and there are clearly some big differences already.
どこで食べるの？響くん、武士は食わねど高笑いってやつ？でしょ？じゃあよろしく。
I mean, this time around we have the adorable purple-haired psychopath Akane as the girl everyone loves, but no one suspects to reclusively be murdering people in her otaku lair. But how could they when she's framed above them all looking down on the world? But don't let Gridman's illustrious history scare you away. You can still enjoy the anime for Amemiya's curiosity-piquing world. I've thoroughly enjoyed these 2 episodes for their strange blending of styles and enchanting yet unnerving atmosphere.
何？
向こうにでっかい怪獣！でっかい怪獣！
I've seen plenty of people commenting on the first episode being slow and uneventful, to which I can definitely see that mentality if you've never lived in Japan especially. The episode just reminded me of my Japanese classmates taunting each other and snacking on cheap food out of konbinis with friends, so for me personally it hit home.
俺んちわからない。
はあ？
友達？
Flavor that on-the-go Tokyo lifestyle with some ominous kaiju beyond the mist visuals and nostalgic 90s anime power lines, and you've set the tone for incoming Trigger insanity. But these prominent power lines are for more than just looks. They really epitomize a lack of connection between our characters. Akane doesn't have empathy for the one she kills, like it's all just a video game to her, or like an internet troll doesn't care about the real person on the other side of the screen. She lacks that connection to humanity, and you can view Yuta and Utsumi in a similar way, as they don't really seem to care about those that they weren't physically close to or killed.
まあどっちでもいいけど。
飲まないの？
私炭酸飲めない。
Rika, on the other end of the spectrum, is sympathetic to the point of depression, but without the power is only able to say thank you in the end. The voice actors and character designs were a breath of fresh air with a clearly defined luminous palette against the darker backgrounds. I enjoyed the back and forth jump cut dialogue between Yuta and Rika in the beginning, with the added full name Japanese play on words, and that continues into mystery when Yuta suggests something that happened between them, but the scene cuts before we find out what. After Zero2's smile captured the hearts of millions thanks to Shiori Miyazaki's key animation, she's back to warm us up to Rika's comfy cheeks, along with some lighthearted teasing from her typical high school friends. Akane may be framed as the class cutie, but the stark contrast from her innocent smile to a sharp blade in a dark room in the next scene should have been enough to clue us in. The element I think I'm going to enjoy most down the road is Utsumi's crush on Akane and how that plays into his nerdy Ultraman knowledge. Beyond Rika's alluring thighs and Yuta's cliche memory loss, we get a feel for exactly how much Hideaki Anno inspired Amamiya in establishing this world that draws the viewer straight in and has them on their toes for what's around the corner. The first 16 minutes of the show doesn't even have music, it's so eerie. Only background noise adding to those same loitering extended freeze frames that infamously drag out in Evangelion.
ありがとう。
いえ、やばい。
連絡します。乾先生1番にお電話が入っております。乾先生1番にお電話が入っております。
Ryo Itoyama's key animation really makes you feel Rika and her mom inhabit their home by scattering typical Japanese decor in an organized clutter. The Fully Cooley style rapid camera panning brings your attention to this as if Mayumi Shintani, Haruko's voice actor voicing Rika's mom, was not enough Gainax for you.
君たちうるさいよ。
Those authentic and detailed high school scenery shots from the director himself took me out of my room and straight into the school. Noble and kind-hearted Yuta being sucked into the computer was just so cartoonish and fun that we really get a feel for what Yuto Kaneko's style of animation is all about. The awkward CG truly replicated those classic rubber bodysuit wearing kaiju, and as for Gridman, well, there are just so many references to older mecha anime, Dangayo, Gravion, Gaiking, and the list just goes on. If you've seen my likes recently on Twitter, you'd know they're filled with Hiroki Arai pieces, and boy, the new kid did not disappoint with that Obari Punch hand-drawn Sakuga. Spectacular, man. The soundtrack just starting to come alive makes Gridman's entry all the more epic for the first fight scene, and again in episode 2 we don't hear anything until horrific screeching violins accompany Akane's vindictive laughter. And some gentle guitar during Rika's touching talk with Samurai Caliber. Rika's charming classmate memories triggering her resolve was definitely my favorite scene in the show thus far because the OST just fits it perfectly. And at the same time, the scene again makes you question her and Yuta's past since she can't directly tell him to fight and we don't know why.
それは本人に言え。
言えないよ。
Rika's concerned enough by her classmates leaving her and teasing her about spending time with the boys, but the fear of losing them is just elevated when she realized that they may be dead. Notice how the animation accentuates this feeling by constantly separating her from the boys.
昨日元気だったじゃん。だから何なの？
ジャンクに。ああ。
By putting her in the dark every scene until the end when she finds her resolve and stands in front of the door with the light.
ありがとう。
Episode 2 introduces Samurai Caliber's comic relief after convincing us that he was the villain in episode 1.
宇宙人。
Though it's Akane's threatening portrayal through wide angles, chewed straws, and ultimately kicking the shit out of her desktop that sends a fairly terrifying message to the audience. Samurai Caliber stands for more than that though. He represents how well old-fashioned restraint and wisdom can complement new technology.
アクセスコードグリッドマンキャリバー
All in all, I loved the first 2 episodes. The opening was filled with fantastic animation. The ending juxtaposed Akane and Rika's high school insecurities as perfectly as the girls who animated it, Mayumi Nakamura and Toko Yatabe, who were actually classmates in real life. How perfect is that? And the photorealistic images of the high school behind the characters, processed to imitate the photo filters, wrapped up the entire sequence in such a gratifying way that already has me believing in Akane's redemption arc.
何あの件。あんなのずるいじゃん。
If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to catch Gridman every week free in HD on crunchyroll.com/soul. That link will be in the description. If you're a fan of Trigger or Gainax, I hope you guys drop a like and subscribe. Join the Discord, the link will be in the description as well. And the Rika's Thighs chat could always use some more thickness. So I'll see you all in there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ja, mata.